I'm Rod Burgess, a member of Open Door for about 25 years now. I'm on my 19th year of continued sobriety and spiritual pursuit and celebrate recovery. My current ministry is serving on the church deacon board. The reason I'm telling you the story, something hit me just not too long ago about Pastor's series on Multiply, which is in regard to giving, and whether it be monetary or whether it be our time and our efforts and our talents. So on January 5th, Pastor preached on Luke 19:12 through 17 in regard to giving. And this is a story of God's grace revealed through us. About 2 weeks ago, I dropped my father-in-law off as I always do after we finished up a day's work. He lives on 98th Street, close to Edwardsville, so that's kind of a rural area. Not many houses or traffic there, actually. But I was leaving there, and it was getting late in the evening, almost dark, and it was a front coming in, a cold front with rain and possible snow and freezing temperatures. And I got close to State Avenue, and I noticed that there was somebody walking down the street. And as he was walking, he was almost in the middle of the road. I pulled over to the side and I asked him if he wanted to ride. Perfect stranger to me, so kind of a young fella. Looked like he might have been in his early 20s perhaps. And he looked at me, and I asked him again. I said, "Would you like a ride? I can take you somewhere. It's getting kind of bad out here." And he says, "Okay." That's all he said. So he got in the truck. And before I took off, I explained to him, I said, "I'm going to go up here to Sam's Club, I'm going to gas up, and then I'm going to go home to my family." He says, looks at me with a strange look, and says, "Okay." So I didn't know what to think. I mean, the first thing I got to think, well, maybe he doesn't communicate. He's not speaking English or something. So I proceeded to ask him some more questions as I was driving. And I come to find out that he really didn't know any English. So I got the impression he might have been of Latin or Mexican descent. So I continued on the highway to go to Sam's Club, and he looked at me, and I looked back at him, and he says, "Christian?" And I said, I had a big grin come over my face, and I said, "Yeah, I am a Christian." "You?" He goes, "Oh, yeah." So I said, "Okay, well, that's comforting. You know, I just picked up a stranger on the road." So I get to Sam's Club, and I'm like next in line to gas up, and there was a truck in front of me, and I proceeded to tell him, I said, "You know, this is as far as I can take you. You know, you're going to have to get out." He looked at me and said, "Okay," and he just continued to sit there. So I got kind of nervous here, you know, and we're still making small talk. So I asked him in the best way I know how. I said, "Have you eaten?" You know, kind of motioned, "Have you eaten?" And he goes, "Mm." He shook his head like that, and then he pulled out this. It wasn't quite a cell phone, but it might have been like some kind of electronic device, and he started typing some words in there. And I'm not exactly sure what he said, but I can tell that he held it up, and he asked me a couple of questions right off the top of my head. I'm not sure exactly what he asked me, but what got me was when I asked him, I said, "Do you have a place to go?" And he said, "Okay." So I'm going. This is a foreign guy in a foreign country, and he doesn't speak English. He's in the middle of Kansas. How he got here, I don't know. But I mean, that's just one of these things, you know. So I got to thinking. I said, well, before I kick him out, maybe I should just kind of give him a helping hand. I said, "Do you have any money?" I guess it's kind of an intimidating question from a guy that just picked you up in a pickup truck and has got you as a captive audience. But he looked at me and he shook his. He says, he kind of went like this, and I said, "Money, you know, De Niro," and he goes, "No." So I'm feeling bad. I reached in my wallet, pulled it out, and opened it up, and there was I had some $20 bills in there, and right next to a 20 was a $100 bill. And I got to thinking about it, and something made me reach in there and grab that $100 bill. And I pulled it out of my wallet and I handed it to him. He looked at me and his eyes got really big, and all of a sudden a tear came down his eye. And he almost had me in tears. I didn't know what to think, but I just kind of felt like that was the thing to do. I never even thought about it, and just. And so he gets on his little translator and he types on there, and then he shows it up and he holds it up like this here to tell me what it says, and it says, "You give this to God, not to me." And I just didn't know what to think. I was just floored. So he grabs his backpack, gets out of the truck, and he starts walking over toward Walmart. And I just kind of watched him, and I just had a couple of tears roll down my eyes just thinking about this kid and what he was saying to me and what all had just transpired. So after I gassed up, I went home and I told Diane about it, my wife, and we both just kind of looked at each other, and she says, "Well, I guess that was just meant to be, wasn't it?" I just said, "Yeah, I think it really was." So I tell that story, which leads into this story. Several days later, I had a job that I had to go collect on. I'm a subcontractor, and I do some subcontract work. And I had a client, this lady I've done some work for about 25 years, and she owed me a final bill on a project that I had completed, and the final bill came out to $6,000, and she said, "Okay, that's fine. Why don't you just swing by my office and I'll get you a check." So I swung by her office, and she wrote me a check for $7,000. Well, the bill was only for $6,000. And I asked her about it. She goes, "Well, it was money well earned." She said, "You just take it and just leave it at that." So I didn't think much of it. I said, "Well, she's a 25-year customer. She just appreciated my work, and I'm just really grateful for that. I didn't give it a second thought. And as I was leaving her out of her office door, she says, "Here, hang on a second," and she opened up her purse and she gave me a $100 bill. That just hit me right between the eyes. Several days earlier, I gave away $100. And I remembered what Pastor was talking about on January 5th during his sermon. Said, before it can be multiplied, it has to be blessed. And the second point he gave up was, before it can be multiplied, it has to be given away. You can't outgive God. And I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for your time.